All right, let's get started. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on machine learning. We're going to explore how looking inside these powerful AI models can help you drive some really smart, real world business strategy. Okay, let's jump right in. This quote really sets the stage perfectly. We're not talking about some niche tech problem here. This is a fundamental shift in how business gets done. It's a whole new chapter in management, and it's being written with data. So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with a real world business problem. Then we'll get into the whole black box dilemma. After that, I'll show you how to unlock the why behind AI decisions with a practical playbook. And we'll wrap up by looking at your crucial role as a leader in all of this. Okay, let's make this real. Let's ground this whole discussion in a challenge that pretty much every manager has to deal with: keeping your customers. We're going to see how you can turn raw data about what people do into a powerful strategic advantage. Customer churn, it's like this silent killer for your business. It just quietly eats away at your profits and your market share every time someone leaves. Now, the old way was to react after they were already gone. But machine learning, it gives us something like a crystal ball, helping us predict who is likely to leave so you can actually step in before it's too late. So, how does this thing actually work? Well, it's not magic, right? The model is looking at real, tangible customer behaviors. You can see here it's tracking things like how many purchases they've made, how many days it's been since their last visit, how often they buy. These are the real-world signals that power the whole prediction. Okay, so we've got this amazing model that can predict churn with incredible accuracy. But, and this is a big but, this leads us right into a really critical problem. What happens when these powerful tools are also completely opaque? Just imagine this for a second. Your data science team comes to you and says, "Hey, we built a model, and it's 92% accurate at predicting which customers will leave." I mean, that's fantastic, right? It knows who is about to walk out the door. The potential to slash your churn rate is just massive. But hold on. Here's the million-dollar question, literally. You know who is leaving, but you have no idea why. Are you really going to bet your budget, your team's time, and a huge retention strategy on a prediction you can't even explain? That's a massive business risk. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got these clear models where you can literally trace the logic step by step. But on the other, you have these powerful black box models. They get amazing results, but trying to figure out what's happening inside, it's like looking at a tangled mess of wires. So, what's the solution here? How do we fix this? Well, if we want to trust our AI, we have to unlock that why behind its decisions. And that brings us to this really important idea: model interpretability. And it's actually a pretty simple idea when you break it down. Interpretability is really just how easily can a person, you, a stakeholder or regulator, understand why the model made the call it did. It's what turns an unknown risk into a knowable strategic partner. Okay, so how do we actually get that clarity? Well, there are basically too many ways to go about it. First, you can use models that are interpretable by design. These are built to be transparent from the ground up. The other way is to take that powerful, complex model and use what are called post-hoc explanation tools after it's built. Think of it like putting on a pair of X-ray glasses to see what's going on inside. All right, let's get practical. This is where the rubber meets the road. We're going to open up the playbook and see how you can use these tools to turn those raw model insights into sharp, actionable business strategies. So take a look at this chart. This is a classic example of one of those post-hoc techniques. What it's showing us at a glance is what the model cares about the most overall. And in our churn example, the model is screaming at us that the number of days since a customer's last purchase is the biggest red flag. So what does that tell you? Your retention strategy needs to be laser-focused on re-engaging those inactive customers. But we can go even deeper. A partial dependence plot doesn't just tell you what's important, it shows you how it's important. It basically isolates one factor and shows you exactly what happens to the churn risk as that factor changes. So this plot might tell you that churn risk is pretty low for 60 days, but it just skyrockets after day 90. And bam, that gives you a super precise data-backed trigger point for your marketing campaigns. So you've got these two different approaches. Which one do you pick? Well, as a manager, it really all comes down to the stakes. For high stakes, regulated stuff, think loan approvals or medical diagnoses, you just can't mess around. You need models that are interpretable by design. But if you're in a situation where raw performance is the name of the game, like e-commerce recommendations, you can go with the complex model and use these post-hoc tools to pull out the strategic gold. Now, this isn't something you can just hand off to your data science team and forget about. As a manager, you play the most critical role in making sure these amazing tools are used responsibly. It really all comes down to leadership and having good governance in place. So here are 4 essential steps, a simple checklist for you to follow. 1. Figure out your transparency needs before the project even starts. 2. Set up a formal process for reviewing models. 3. Consciously decide on the right balance between pure accuracy and clarity. And 4, and this one's huge, make your technical teams explain their models in plain English, in business terms you can actually use. So at the end of the day, why does all this matter so much? Well, first, it's how you build trust with your board, with your customers, with everyone. It's also how you ensure you're accountable and legally compliant. It protects you from the massive risk of a biased or just plain wrong model. And you know what? Ultimately, this is how you get your entire organization to actually buy in and get the full benefit of AI. So I'm going to leave you with this one final thought to take back to your own organization. Is your AI a trusted, strategic partner, or is it just some mysterious oracle that you can't afford to question? Because really, the choice of which one you build, that's entirely up to you.